All right, and we're ready for another episode of The Express Lane with
Kevin Stan, what's going on? Special guest, my brother Patrick today.
Hey.
First time on video.
Yeah, now
So-
they can see me.
Yeah, right? Before we could only hear and laugh at you.
Yeah, I know. Now it's a twofer.
And then the last time, like we do every other time, we forgot to get a picture, so I just used a bunch of stuff from your own Instagram, which worked out. I thought it looked pretty cool.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't sue us for, infringing on the copyright of
Well,
your
not
pictures.
yet. Not yet. I still got time. But I don't know what the statute of limitations is on that.
The statute of limitations on a podcast that gets 50 downloads using your picture.
Hey, man. I got to get some kind of money out of this.
And also, you haven't been fired, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
If you can
Because of
figure
our-
out how to get money from us out of this, that means we're figuring out how to get money out of this. So,
Damn it.
good luck.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. You're up and you're not always in town, so I figured while you're around, I'm gonna shuttle you over to Stan's and get you on the ones and twos.
Hell yeah.
Well, that and nobody else came through, so
Well, I'm happy to fill in. You know, I like to think that I have some things to say.
no. Like last time, it was bad for me, but last time we had a good podcast.
Oh yeah, you were hungover as fuck.
even though I was
I
fucked
do
up.
remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like we still, even with me being fucked up, and you two going back and forth, and me chiming in once in a while, still had a lot to say.
Yeah, and that was a tough one because I had a hockey game, so we ran into we were just getting rolling as like a unit, and then it was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
call it for 10-minute time, frame. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, well, it worked out.
Yeah.
I think the last thing we were talking about, we were just hitting on wrestling,
Yeah.
and I
That's
was about
true.
to pop off, and you guys were like, "Oh, we gotta cap this at some point." But I was telling you guys when I walked in, like wrestling's getting good right now, and my dad said that I should say that specifically. My dad said that we have to talk about wrestling.
Oh, that's just because he's just setting you up.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what he said too.
I can't imagine your dad's a fan of wrestling at all, and
don't-
probably hates the fact
wait.
you guys like it.
He's not until he is. Like, he will dog on wrestling, and then you'll catch him watching wrestling and be like, oh, this is pretty entertaining.
Just
Yeah,
chicks
you-
fighting, probably.
You sit him down and get him watching, he'll get invested at the very least. He'll be like, who's this guy? Oh, that guy's wrestling? Fuck that guy. What a piece of shit. It's like, all right,
Well,
now
he's
you're
always
getting
good for
into
that.
it. Yeah, that's true.
When wrestling is in town, it's usually dad that is suggesting we go down
Yeah,
and
that's
watch
true.
wrestling live.
Oh, that's cool. He just wants to hang out with his sons.
That's true.
Yeah,
he does
True.
like
He's
it.
probably, I fucking hate every second of this, but they're here.
No way. I think he likes it. And I was saying that it's more like watching a real-life cartoon sometimes, so I think he likes to go and make fun of it, but he has like a good time making fun of it.
See, I could see him pounding beers, and just making fun of the people that are there.
Oh yeah.
The people watching is
Yeah.
great. It's always a good time.
Like, and
for
look
them.
at this fucking guy. I bet he doesn't even have a real job. Like, fucking just-
There's a bunch of people that you'll see there where it'll be like kids and they all got their favorite wrestler shirt on, and then you'll see like a 40-year-old man with like a fake belt that's
and
like
his favorite wrestling
yeah,
T-shirt on.
like you're like, well, hold on, wait a second, did you just blow that kid up and like you're just a big version of him now? What do you do?
Well, one of the best times was, I guess it was Raw. I can't remember if it was Raw or SmackDown. You got the tickets for Christmas, and then we went. We had those club seats, and it's just down there. And I'm not super invested, so I don't have like anybody that I really care about. But this little kid sitting behind us was like all about John Cena. Was like all about the good guys. So we sitting by the row right in front of him were like, boo, John Cena, just like cheering for everybody against him,
Right.
and then he would yell at us, and we're like, no way, man, like we're just giving it back to this kid. And they left like 2 hours before it was actually over because the kid was like 7. They're like, we need to get him to bed. But like as they're leaving, the mom was like, thank you, that was a lot of fun for him. And we're like, yeah, anytime. And
Oh,
then,
that's pretty cool.
And then he left, and we're like, yeah, but fuck them dudes. That little kid's got dumb ideas. Like, root for the good people.
We're way smarter than this 7-year-old.
Hell
Exactly.
yeah. We're like, you don't even know anything, kid. Backstage, this guy, blah, blah, blah. But that's the thing that is really cool about going to those events is the people that are around, they are really invested. There's cheers for a whole bunch of people, so you're like somewhat involved. And especially if you're there and the bad guy comes out and he's like, and this is the worst city I've ever been in. It's like, fuck you, dude. You've been to New York. You've been to other, shittier towns. Fuck you.
So who is your favorite wrestler?
My favorite wrestler is this guy, Finn Balor. He's from Ireland. He's a small guy, but he's like so cool. He's just a cool guy. He I don't even
what
know
era is this from? Is this like
Currently.
now? Currently?
Your all-time favorite is Finn Balor?
All-time favorite,
okay.
yeah. Well, and because he's got this Undertaker-like thing, I'm sure you know who the Undertaker is.
Yeah, man.
So the Undertaker's an undead wizard for anyone who doesn't know who he is. That
Paul Bearer.
Yeah, and Paul Bearer, that was the guy who managed him. But Finn Balor's this guy who he's just like a regular wrestler until every now and then he just turns into a demon. And that's just an accepted fact. He's a demon. He comes out in war paint of like, he looks like Venom almost. He paints like a giant mouth around his neck. And I promise you, he looks way cooler than what I'm describing him. Come on. When he comes out looking like Venom, you gotta be like, that's badass.
It does look cool, but you're describing him coming out looking like Venom. That's a pretty like balls accurate description of what he looked like. He comes, it's just like the big gaping mouth, like not tattooed, but painted on his neck.
Do you know this guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I also watch wrestling.
Hell yeah. But I like that guy, but also like Undertaker is up there. John Cena's probably one of my favorites of all time as well.
Even with his like cucking to China.
Well,
Gotta make money.
I can separate myself from.
He's just a businessman. He understands that's where the money is.
That's John Cena, the actor. I'm talking about John Cena. It's like the difference between Dwayne Johnson and The Rock.
Okay.
So like, I don't like the fact that Dwayne is cucking himself over in China, but The Rock, when he comes back and lays the smackdown onto all the other people in WWE, I'm into that stuff.
All right, that's good. Separation's a good thing.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. I feel like because my favorite wrestler was Chris Benoit, but I don't know if you can get any separation there.
Jeez.
Everyone else?
That's who it was. It was just like, man,
that was your guy?
Yeah, dude, the crippler crossface, flying headbutts. That dude, and like he was just a little short, like
little guy with a short
neck.
neck.
Yeah, just like roided up dude.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, when he was wrestling, he was the best wrestler that has ever stepped foot on planet Earth.
Well, yeah, but
I
when you
don't
say
know,
that,
Eddie Guerrero was also at the same time.
I'm well aware of that, but
when you say that, like, you mean like he does cool flips, or like, because I mean like the best, like as far as what they
professional
told
wrestler,
them to
not
do.
Like...
Well, so he's able to make everything look legitimate in terms of when someone hits him, no matter how you put it, he will make it look like he's getting the shit beat out of him.
Okay.
But he also looks like a guy that would and could beat the shit out of the other person.
Okay.
So unfortunately he can and did, but we'll skip over that part.
in real life.
But he was just really good at performing it, and he made it look legitimate, even though it was at a point where everyone was like, we know that this isn't actually two people fighting each other.
Because like when I liked wrestling, like 12, 13, Sting was the man. Because I watched WCW.
Hey, Sting's still wrestling, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's the truth.
I don't think he's still the man, but he is.
No, he's
still
not
wrestling.
the man.
Well, it was cool because like the plot, like that's why I can kind of understand why you guys like it, because there's the plot. You got the bad guys, good guys, and then you got like the people that you're undecided, and then they play these little games, and he's on this side, then he's on that side.
Mm-hmm.
Sting would come down and be like the justice for the good guys when the bad guys were taking over the
Hell
wolf
yeah.
pack. And you just come down and beat people with a bat, and you're like, yo, that's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what
it's just like professional wrestling is just a soap opera for dudes.
Yeah, well, children.
Nah, dudes. I know
Well,
what I said.
there's another company that's not WWE right now that's doing pro wrestling, and they treat it like it's a sport. So everything's super serious, and the people that watch it mostly are people our age.
What's that?
AEW, And that's where Sting is, actually. So Sting's able to... I mean, he doesn't do all of the same type of stuff that he did, because he's, I want to say, like 54, 55 right now.
Old.
Yeah.
But
plus, they're not allowed to come down from the rafters anymore, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Once that one guy.
Owen Hart ruined that one.
Oh, yeah. They're having a tournament for Owen Hart right now, too. It's all coming full circle here.
Well, that's because like all the fans from that age that didn't grow up are still watching.
Well, and that's exactly...
like, hey, nostalgia.
That's exactly what this promotion is like, because it's the same thing as WCW almost, where it's an alternative to what WWE's doing.
So I didn't even know there was like alternative. Like when I was watching, it was just because we didn't have whatever channel. Like they were on two different channels. Like one of them was like, whatever channel it was, TNT or I don't know.
I think that's what it was,
WCW was TNT.
Yeah, and then like the other one was
USA usually.
Yeah, maybe that was like a paid subscription or something. I don't know what it was, but that's because. So I watched that one, and that one was the real one for me. That was wrestling. And then you find out there's this whole other one. Like I'm watching the B Squad, and like they've got the other one that's the real like fireworks. You know,
right. It's pretty much the same thing that's going on right now, except there's not like a big difference in terms of quality. They're just different in how they're presented, because WWE is very much like a male soap opera, where it's just like, we have all these weird, wacky problems, but we solve them by beating each other up in a ring. While AEW is like, okay, I want to be number one and I want to be the world champion. So that means I'm going to have to win a whole bunch of matches, just like a boxer would have to win a whole bunch of fights. You win a whole bunch and you end up getting a chance at the guy who has the belt. And you either win or lose.
It's like the setup is different, where WWE, there's the ring, and then out of the ring is all padded, and like the barricades are all padded, and it's set so that the fans can't really get close to anybody. But the AEW is kind of like when you watch the 90s, early 2000s WWE, where it's the metal railing is the only thing that's stopping the fans from getting there. There's no padding barely around the ring, so people are jumping off the ring onto the outside. It's like you're slamming concrete anymore, instead of where they have these thick like wrestling mats on the outside of the WWE ring. It's just a more raw form of the show.
And that's still even true in how they perform, because they do shows that aren't on TV all throughout the week, so everyone's got to be safer with the moves that they're doing. Whereas the other people, they're like, fuck yeah, I'll take a nosedive off the top of the ring onto a crowd of people that's just on concrete. Like, that's just what I got to do to make this seem really cool.
And this pile of cocaine is just what I got to do to take that nosedive onto them people outside the concrete.
Hey, man.
Still think there's a lot of drugs?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're joining Amber Heard.
They're pooping in people's beds?
No, doing cocaine.
Oh.
Yeah, I did just watch that. Like, just trying to gotcha with, like, you do drugs. Like, yeah, they're all rich and famous. They all do drugs, for
Hell
sure.
Yeah.
Like, they're fucking partying at the top of the world. Yeah.
So whose side are we on right now?
Johnny Depp's always.
Depp,
Yeah, okay, good.
Edward
I'm glad we all agree on that.
Dude, like, could not be better publicity for him to just, like, hey, like, yeah, I'm super famous and, you know, I play Jack Sparrow, but, like, genuinely, just a nice guy that likes to get fucked up.
That's true.
I don't know. I think probably a nice guy that likes getting fucked up, but obviously he was in that relationship for that long. They were fucking married, so he liked the drama of the relationship.
Yeah, but I also feel like, so not only are they at the top of the world, they're rich, famous, superstars, like, life moves 10 times faster. So it's like a regular person that takes, 5 years to get married. Like, they're just like, hey, we're rich, famous, really good looking. We could have anybody in the world. Let's get married right now. Like, it's just way faster.
That's true. And I think that's why the whole trial is as big as it is because
they're distracting us from the real problems.
Yeah.
Well, you know what pisses me off? Like, you can, on Facebook, anytime you're scrolling, or Instagram, it's like, trial. And then you had shitty drawings of the fucking pedophile trial, like Ghislaine Maxwell.
It's just what people care about. It's possible. No one wants to give a shit about something serious if it's about people that they don't know. Yeah. But everyone's heard of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, so they're like, ooh, what's the drama here? average American's super distractible.
Yeah, true.
That's just true.
Facts.
You dangle something shiny. I'm sure if you were like, look at these keys that, Tom
in the
Holland
bed.
spit on, they'd be like, whoa, look at those keys. That's crazy.
And that I think that is one of the reasons why they hate like the internet and things being so open, because like, hey, if we're not interested in that bullshit, we'll be looking over here, and it's like they don't like that because they can't control that. They being just the system or whatever.
Hey, everyone likes to have eyes on them. I think everyone likes some kind of audience, and everyone likes to have some kind of following. So if everyone's like, well, they're not talking about me anymore, obviously they're gonna get upset.
Yeah.
Now, do you think, like, during the trial when Johnny Depp is describing Amber Heard taking a dump in the bed, and he settles on the word, I can only describe it as grumpy in the bed. It's like, do you think somebody gave him that, or he was like, yo, I'm going to call it a grumpy, and it's going to be the fucking most hilarious thing that's ever been said in court ever?
I hope it was a conscious decision. I've started using grumpy as...
Who hasn't at this point?
I don't know. I think when you look at him answering questions, I think he might genuinely... I don't know. It's probably rehearsed. He probably isn't like that, like not scared or nervous because he's a fucking movie star. He's used to having everybody look at him. So I don't think that's probably a problem for him. But like when he gets asked questions, like I think he genuinely like answers like, hold on. And like you see somebody pause and take a moment to really think of an answer, whereas as we're talking right now, I'm not thinking about shit, I'm just saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like when he answers a question, it's like absorbs it, probably thinks about what he's saying, and then says it. But it's genuine, like probably the way his brain works, I feel like.
I'd believe that. I mean, that's why grumpy comes out, because
Yeah.
I hope in his regular life he's just like grumpy.
Well, he's eccentric.
Yeah.
Like he's
Exactly.
everything is.
I gotta go take a grumpy.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Everything's fantasy for him.
Johnny Depp's the only man that I know that wears that much jewelry. I don't think, and I know like that's coming around now. That's like trending for guys to start wearing rings and stuff like that. He was doing that like 10 years ago when he was 20 years too old to actually be able to do that.
Well, it's just some people can just pull it off and it seems cool. I was never much of a like watch necklace kind of definitely tried, but it was like you have all this shit on you, like you can't, I don't know, you forget it somewhere, it gets tangled up, I don't know.
That's just him. I think he probably just collected a whole bunch of stuff from the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah,
like
he's just
I think he lived that life.
He's just a pirate in real life.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, they had all of these they had these rings here, and so I just decided to procure them. And he was just like, yeah, so now I have like 50 rings for my fingers that I use. I go through them every other day.
But also the lifestyle, like how cool is his bodyguard, his Irish or Scottish bodyguard? Like
I
that
think
guy was
that's
fucking
awesome.
cool as shit. He's like just answering questions like, "Now did you party with him?" It's like, "Yeah." Like, did he ever pay you in gifts? He's like, "Yeah, like over, $500." Yeah, a lot more than that. Like that fucking dude's cool. Like he probably not only has all of these leeches around him, but he probably finds some authentic human beings, and they're probably the closest that he can get to a real relationship with somebody.
That's true. I mean, like, eccentric draws in eccentric.
Yeah.
Usually. So he's probably just surrounded himself by, like, all of these super unique and wacky people.
Yeah.
So he was like, I mean, fuck, you're big. You want to... I'll pay you to just, like, hang out near me.
Just be big near me.
Yeah.
Like how crazy would it be? Like you're not able. Everybody wants to be your friend, but you're not going to be able to have an authentic relationship with anybody.
That's what I always think is weird about, like, when you think about, like, if I won the lottery, like, what would you do? Like, I know people are going to be coming out of the woodwork to be like, oh, man, remember me? Like, we hung out that one time, and, like, I think you, like, owed me for this, right? Like,
Or it probably wouldn't even happen. Like those people would be easy to discount. You'd have to
I'd be
watch the
like,
people that
"Fuck
come
you."
to you like, I don't even want anything, man. Just I remember our friendship that we had before. And it's just like snaking their way into your life.
I never, like, I've fantasized about winning the lottery, but it always like, oh, I'm buying a ranch and I'm buying like a huge RV, like the shit I would spend. Now I'm thinking like the other stuff that would make me happy is all of those people coming out of the woodwork, because like we said with Ray, is like I'm gonna waste you. Give me a call. Try to get some money. I will waste your time.
Right.
Making them do weird challenges and shit.
Yeah.
See, I always thought, like, I'm just gonna buy a house. I'm gonna pimp the fuck out of that house, and then that's it. Like, I don't need anything else. Like, I'm definitely, people will be like, I'll pay off, like, all of my friends' loans. I'm like, fuck that. You kidding me? You got yourself into that mess. I'm not gonna bail you out.
I don't know. I fantasize about, like, having what if you could make a whole, not a town, but, like, a whole cul-de-sac or something of just people you'd like to live around. Like, that'd be the ultimate moment.
That would be
of,
cool.
like, because you live in a neighborhood, whatever, like, your neighbors are who they are. You luck out. Sometimes you get some good ones. Like, I got some good ones. You've got good ones, luckily. But you could have a fucking nightmare next to you and you can't do shit. Imagine if you could fill a cul-de-sac or a neighborhood or a street with all the people you like.
That would be sick.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I think I would get annoyed.
Well,
I'd be like, oh, okay, I like all of you, but, like, get further away from me.
well, that's why you'd have to buy, like, property.
Well,
Right.
See, I think I would like do that with the cul-de-sac of everybody you want, but then I would still buy a cabin in the woods and mostly live there.
Yeah, for sure.
So you all be here, and I'll come find you when I
Well,
need
yeah,
you.
because then you'd be the one that sets the tone. It's like, yo, when I'm home, like, we're partying.
Hell yeah.
But when I'm away, like, live your lives, do your things.
I don't know. I honestly think I would be a pretty big asshole if I won the lottery. I'd be like, hey, guys, you want to go to this Flyers game? Like, oh, yeah, sure. Well, I'm going to buy tickets in the booth, so your total is going to be $200.
It's like, geez, this guy's a dick.
Hey, man, I'll like,
He's
get
rich
us
as fuck.
in, but, you know, these things cost money.
Yeah.
I'll buy you a beer. How about that?
You ever watch the Trailer Park Boys? I'd be hitting people with, "I'll pay $100 to fuck off right now."
I
Just
think
give,
I would
like
do
a wad
that.
of hundreds, just like, "Hey, Pat, man, no. Here you go."
If you won the lottery, would you have a job still?
Fuck no.
No. I would find a job that, like,
See,
doesn't have a lot of work that I could do, or maybe I would, like, volunteer somewhere just to,
so-
like, have something to do. If I just had a shit ton of money and then was like, I'm done, that would be so boring.
So I guess I would have some type of job, but I would be working for me. I wouldn't be working for somebody else if I won the lottery. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to spend, I'll just waste all this money to start a food truck, and now I'm the guy in charge of the food truck making what I want to make or whatever it is. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go work at that sporting goods company because I like sports and I just want to, like, help some kids out. Like, no, nobody else gets, like, I won the lottery. Nobody gets to tell me what to do anymore.
Or work for small companies where you know at any moment if somebody pissed you off, like, buy the whole thing and then fire everybody and run into the ground.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
That would be pretty fun.
I think what I would actually do is I would find some, like, 19-year-old girl that has millions of followers, and I would hire her to help, like, make a TikTok or, like, whatever the social media is at that point. So that way, like, that would be another source of further income. Because that seems like the easiest thing in the world. All I see anymore on, like, Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok is, like, hey, guys, hanging out, ask me questions. And it's always like, what are you doing today? I'm getting Starbucks. Like, that's your day? You're just getting Starbucks and talking to randos on the internet? I want to do that.
But
pay me to do that.
the bullshit we've all seen them, you know, either Instagram or Snapchat, like, chicks. Not every single day. I swear, nobody asks every day, how do you get your teeth so white? That's them with a burner account asking themselves so that they can, like, push
it's
whatever
like,
that
Mom, you gotta text me the thing or else I'm not gonna get sponsored again.
Exactly. It's just like, okay, we saw it once. It's something nobody else is actually gonna buy to use on their teeth.
It's everyone, though. I swear, if I post, like, 4 times a day, they will hit me up and be like, well, we're seeing that you post 4 times a day. You want to just, like, use this fake thing? I'm also positive it doesn't work. They're almost always just using crest whitening and just moving on.
Who's the fighter with the Mohawk UFC? He was promoting one of those, like, it was just like this thing that glowed.
Current?
No, old guy, Mohawk. Really famous.
The Iceman.
Yeah. That's his name. The Iceman.
Chuck Liddell.
Chuck
That's
Liddell.
it. Yeah, it came to me.
And it would just be like, man, you're like a bad motherfucker. Your wife's hot as shit. Like, you're doing family stuff, and you're trying to hawk this thing. Like, how much are they paying you for this bullshit?
Probably not a lot. I think he was in money trouble.
Yeah.
He needed to get whatever sponsor was gonna hit him up.
It's just weird that they're like, we're gonna get this big UFC legend guy, and then this 19-year-old who takes pictures of her dog.
Well, on the dog thing, like, so I have a pretty Rottweiler. I'll post a picture of her, and you do get hit up by, like, dog stuff. I don't know if it's bots or if it's like a real person that just looks at all the things that are tagged like dogs.
Right.
And it's like, hey, here's 50% off. Take a picture of your dog in it and then post it. So, I mean, I think that's a legit job. Like, I think somebody's out there doing that. That's probably just on a huger scale of like, hey, we're going to give you $5,000 to hawk this teeth whitening fucking stupid shit.
Yeah, all you have to do is pretend to show your titties a couple of times a month.
It just blows my mind that, like, there are people where all they do is just, like, ask me questions today. And it's always like, it's obviously a guy who's asking a girl, how old are you? Which, if you ever have to ask that, you're like a pedophile.
Well,
and
especially
I don't care.
at our age. Like, you're younger, right?
I'm 26.
So, yeah, even like a 19-year-old for you, that's still doable, but still, like...
If you have to ask the question, just, that's the wrong thing.
Yep.
Just delete your account. The FBI's already looking at you.
That's you, Crystalia.
Ugh. And, you know, that's the other thing.
Well, it's the thing. He wasn't asking how old they were. He was just assuming.
Ugh, that's so worse.
Assumptions got the pedophile.
That's why I hate the internet. That's the biggest thing that I hate, is that it's
all undefeated.
Not the disinformation?
No, it's mostly the fact that it's... The only people that post on it anymore seem to be like 19, 20-year-old girls. But the problem is that there's teenagers that are posting the same type of stuff, and that's just attracting a whole bunch of guys that, like, they don't give a fuck what age they are, and they're gonna be like, whoa, like, you look so beautiful. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude, you weirdo.
That's how crazy it is, like, all of these catch a predator people, like these, like, off-brand, like, Pennsylvania predator hunters, like, they are still catching people. Like, now they're probably...
They're catching the same people multiple times.
They're on a spectrum, and they're just... You can look at them and you're like, oh, this guy either is not mentally stable, he's on the spectrum, or he's just really in the bad spot in life. He just didn't get the correct chromosomes. Sucks. But they're still catching people, and they're still trying to talk to underage girls and boys. Like, what the fuck?
Well, and that's what I hate about it is, you know, kids are just growing up super fast these days because the bar of, like, whatever the standard of beauty is. Like, I remember... When I was younger, Jennifer Aniston, who had been on Friends for X amount of years, that was like the #1 most beautiful person. But
She's
now,
still
like,
fucking hot.
And I totally agree. But now the person is like, you know, Addison Rae or whoever, who's like 20. But though that just means that the age bar is lowered.
I don't know who that is, but
it's just some.
How old was Jennifer Aniston though in that? The 30s?
Yeah, like
had to
like 20s to 30,
late 20s
probably.
at least. But that's the thing that I hate is it's getting younger and younger for the standard of beauty, which then all the kids are seeing that, and they're like, well, I want to do that. So then they grow up super quick. I tell people all the time, if I were to be president, I'm immediately becoming a dictator. I'm the only one in charge.
Well, we're not voting to put you in.
Yeah, and that's fine. But that'll be my platform. Even if I were running, I'd be like, listen, I just got to let everyone know up front. I don't plan on being president. I plan on ruling for the rest of my life.
Check the ballot in 2024 for Pat Haley.
Hell yeah. But first thing I would do is I would somehow find a way to make it you can only have the internet when you're 18 or older. Like everything that has the internet has to have like a swipe card or you got to scan an ID or something.
Well, hold on. We can't do that because some people can't get IDs, all right?
We'll find a way. I'll figure it out. But if you're under 18, you can only have a flip phone. Just talk to the people that are around you, because why are you going out onto the internet trying to get a million people to like your post?
But then how would you get your kid to leave you alone? Hey, go play on the internet. Leave me alone.
No. Go play outside. Yeah. That was what I was always told growing up.
Did you get go play on the internet when you were a kid? No.
I got get the fuck out of the house.
It was like, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
That's what I do think is
clean
crazy.
up or go play outside.
What I do think is crazy is I was always told, watch what you post on the internet, and you don't be on the internet, don't believe everything you see on the internet. And now there's so many adults that I know in my life that believe a lot of just what they see on the internet, post some pretty wicked stuff on the internet, and I'm like, what? When did this flip?
Yeah,
because
I
I
think
remember
Kevin's
being
talked about that before too.
I remember being yelled at for just saying like today sucked, and someone was like, today didn't suck, you're just upset, you don't need to tell the internet that. And now people are like, I hope this person fucking dies because their opinion doesn't agree with mine. It's like, whoa.
That is pretty. That's a true. That's a good thought. Like that is true because it literally is on the internet right now. It's turned into just bots and older people. Like and an older person could be 30 and up. Just like people that grew up with the internet a little bit, but now they're in their 40s or whatever, and whatever political party they're against, that's really riling them up. And you're like, dude, like you know better. You know that you're not arguing with real people, right? Like we have the stats. We can see like it's a lot of fake accounts, a lot of disinformation. Like and when you put your opinion out there, you're putting it out there to be criticized.
Well, the world changed, and it changed fundamentally because it used to be, don't talk to strangers on the internet. Don't get in a car with a stranger. Don't do any of these things. Now, you talk to a stranger on the internet to get into their car. Like, you just call Uber.
Entirely true.
You're getting into a stranger's car. That's what is the world now. And it's like...
And also, you can get real relationships because you're talking to somebody. They might be real.
That's true.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But then, like, there's a
bizarre
lot
thing.
of whores on Tinder,
Well,
too.
look, we're not talking about the girl that's in Norristown that wants to fuck right now. Like, right when you're on this porn website, they want to fuck you. No, I'm talking
Hot
about, like,
singles in the area,
Yeah.
1 mile away.
Yeah.
Mature ladies in your area, be discreet.
Yeah.
We've all seen that.
That's bullshit because they'll tell me I've got like 50 of them things, and I'm like, I literally live in the middle of nowhere. There's no way.
You live with all old people around.
They said hot singles. I
Guess
highly
they didn't say what age.
I highly do not believe that there are hot singles. There's probably singles, and you know what? I'm fine with a sugar mama. If there's like a 70-year-old lady in my
70?
area,
You can go with 60?
hey, 60s would be way better, but I would go all the way up to 70.
Older
If
is
you-
way better.
if
Give me
you are
a lady that's
paying
85.
For me to just be around you, hell yeah. I'm into it. But I think the one thing that everyone can agree on, all political parties, is whatever you believe in is correct and whatever the other side says is wrong. And everyone will go, well, yeah, of course my opinion's correct. And they do say something wrong. But that'll be the same on the left and the right.
Yeah. I think it'd be a better saying.
Why can't it be I'm wrong and you're wrong?
Well, it could be a better
that's
say.
what it is,
Hey, there's
and they don't wanna
common
say that.
ground here. Like, I don't hate you because of one opinion. Like,
I had a conversation with someone a while ago, and they're an older guy, and they were like, Pat, don't you find it weird that, all kids want to talk about these days is politics? And I said, one, I know more older people that only talk about politics than people my age, but I see what you mean. And two, there was a common courtesy at some point where if you're in a public space or if you're working, you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about money, because those are things that end up causing arguments. So when you're sitting here, maybe not always recording something, but when you're sitting down with people in just like a relaxing space, then you're able to just like casually have conversations. But I know too many people that are like, did you just see the news? And it doesn't matter where they are. They're just like willing to throw out whatever information piece that they think they read.
And I don't think it was that it was like you don't talk about any of these things. I think it was you can talk about stuff, but you weren't like, the polite thing was that we can agree to disagree and we will leave it at a disagreement instead of arguing about the disagreement, where we could talk politics, and we could get to where like it diverges and we're like, well, I don't really think that's right. And you could go, yeah, well, I don't really think you're right. And
so you want to keep 18-year-olds on the internet is what you're saying?
Well, I mean, sure.
18 plus.
God damn.
18 and up, you
Yeah,
said.
man, 18
And the
plus.
kids, you want the kids on there?
They should have their own internet. They should
That
have, like,
is
But they
way
wouldn't
worse
use
of an
it.
idea.
Yeah,
That is beyond worse of an idea.
I don't know. I think we'll have
Weenie
to
Hut
just
Juniors.
adapt. We just have to adapt to it. Like, maybe talk to your kids more. Like, every chance I get, I try to talk
I
to my
remember
kids.
seeing
Wait,
all
so
them
we
commercials
gotta
for
talk
Club
to our
Penguin.
kids instead of just throw them on the internet? That sounds terrible.
All
You
those
just have to give them
commercials for
guide rails. Like,
Club
hey, look,
Penguin and stuff, they all said make sure you get your parents' permission before you go on this website.
what's Club Penguin?
I don't know. It was some thing that I used to do.
it was the
like-
metaverse before metaverse.
That's
and you were all
honestly true,
penguins.
actually.
Oh,
But,
really?
Yeah.
But it
Hilarious.
was like a kid's game you played on the internet, like AOL almost. You'd like go and just talk to random people.
But most of them are probably dudes looking to prey on kids.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you might have been a little too young at the time for when Omegle started. I remember being in high school.
I know Omegle, yeah.
And like Omegle comes out and you're just like, oh, that seems kind of dick. Oh, never mind. No, it's another dick.
Dude, it was
It
cool as
was
fuck.
dicks.
Like, I remember when we first found
It was all dicks.
until, like, you're like, oh, yeah, it's just a lot of just dudes and dicks. Like, yeah. You're like, all right, well, that was a cool idea if you
Well-
could find a chick on there.
it's also a whole lot of like guys that are just sitting there in their webcam and they're like 1 second and then they stand up and
Yeah.
then it's like, oh well, what the fuck, like
Yeah. Fucking, that's why dudes are the worst.
I'd always be like, just have your dick out and when I see it I'll skip.
Boom,
Don't
boom.
wind me up. And
Oh, I found a friend. Nope, not a friend.
yeah, what the fuck.
Back to the
But-
your idea about religion and politics and
Oh yeah.
like that's so true because I remember like one of the first things you learn when like my mom and my aunt Celeste, who still love to this day, she even though she divorced or got rid of my uncle, they would sit there and they'd play Rummy 500 drinking, and like there was just things you didn't talk about. You didn't talk about religion. You didn't talk about like politics because you both knew like, hey, you believe your thing, I believe my thing, and we're never going to come to an agreement on that. So why even? There's a million other things we can talk about that we can come together on.
And
why we'll just exclude these three things and we're fine. We're friends. We're family.
and that's exactly what I see is so many people are too invested in it that like that's their whole life anymore.
Yeah.
Like people can be boiled down to this point at their whole personality is liberal conservative and they don't have anything else because their hobby is watching whatever propaganda it is that they want to watch. And I'll say that on both sides is, everyone is just like, well, you should watch this channel because they say it this way. It's like, that's the same fucking thing that guy over there said about his channel. So you're not different. You just disagree.
You're the same.
So
You're
then
actually
stop
the same.
talking about it
Yeah.
and just believe it. It's the same thing with religion of like, don't shove it down my throat. Don't shove your political views down my throat. I don't want to hear them all the time.
And also, you're not boiled down to one subject. Like if you believe or disbelieve in abortion, like that's just one opinion. There's a million other ones that you can also believe in. We might be on 99 of them. That one, all right, fair enough. You let the courts decide or whatever. But you can't fucking just hate a person because they believe one thing.
Yeah, and people are too quick. Everyone's got a trigger finger with like exactly this one thing. Oh my god, if no one agrees with me on this one thing, like I'm gonna lose my mind. It's like, well, then just don't bring it up. You don't bring it up. You don't talk about it. You're not gonna get angry. But the fact that you know that person's conservative and you're liberal, and you bring up the fact that you think they're wrong, all of a sudden there's a problem now. There wasn't a problem 2 seconds ago.
Well, that was like back in 2016, like with Trump running and then winning for the president, like people online going, anybody that voted for Trump, like I'm unfollowing and we're not friends anymore. It's like, so you're just gonna see like people agreeing with you all day. Like you don't want to see anything that somebody has something else to say. You just want to only see people that are like yes men for your whole life.
Also know that just like wrestling, it's all make-believe. Like there's chosen winners and losers. Your opinion or your vote I believe, really doesn't count. Like, it really doesn't. Maybe on a local level, But even then, I think it gets iffy.
Damn, Stan, I didn't know you hate America.
Love America. But
doesn't sound like it with that
I
kind
really
of commie
don't
talk.
I believe in the freaking the deep state. I believe that there's people in the government that are there longer than presidents, and
All right.
they make the choices.
So here's my biggest controversial opinion I have right now.
Oh shit!
And
I hate you.
It's out there, and I know it'll never happen.
Ranch dressing isn't that good?
Well,
You want
why
to be
do
a dictator.
Why did you? No, it was actually, I think America is too big. Having to cover all 50 states, too much. And I think with how divided everything is, it just doesn't work. Because no one's going to agree on anything. So I think you cut up the entire region into like 6 parts maybe, and let people go where they want to go.
That's the idea of the states, though. I think it's...
But allow that region to only be governed by themselves, because I'm tired of hearing people go, well, that decision happened in Texas or California, but now I'm scared that it's going to come over to this state. I would rather have security as, like, you know, if Ireland is seeing that France has this new law, Ireland's not going to be worried that that law is going to come over to them because they're a different country. So I would rather have the security of going, they're weird over there, but we're cool here.
But you also have to have
I didn't know I'm sitting next to 2 people that hate America.
Look, but like,
I'll say yeah. I'll say it.
I was young once too. Like, I don't know. That's a kind of a cool idea, but also like that's the states. That's why states' rights. But you have to have you have to have a governing body that's like, all right, look. The bare minimum is no slavery. The bare minimum is these big rules over top, and then every state can decide for themselves what they want to have in their state. But also, we're all one. Like, that's the best thing about America is doesn't matter what state you're from, you can get along with other people in other states is because you're an American.
As long
we're
as it's
Americans.
not New Jersey.
Yeah.
Well, we already broke that down, though, yeah, we're all American, and so we love each other. Unless I'm a liberal and you're a conservative.
And that's the problem. I think that's part of the plan.
Which is exactly why I want to be like, just cut them up. Let the liberals go here. Let the conservatives go here. All the socialists can get their own area.
We need everybody to mix together so that we can change the people that might have goofy fucking ideas.
Ain't nobody changing. Everyone's got fixed mindset at this point.
I think like once they meet, like it's just like how racism stopped. Like eventually somebody lived next door to a black family like, hey, you know what? These people aren't so bad. You know what I mean? Like, and then they integrate and then they tell their friends and then they spread love just like hate spreads, I feel like.
Like in wrestling, when the New Day started and you were like, this tag team sucks. I hate them. I was like, no way, dude. The New Day are great. They're going to be huge. And then they turned out to be huge and you're like, damn, Kev, you know what? You were right. I really like the New Day.
Here's the difference, though, is the New Day didn't have consistent problems throughout their entire history, whereas the U.S. has.
Yeah, but they've hit some big problems. New Day.
Besides Xavier Woods having sex on top of the women's belt, everything else has been fun.
Oh, man, he's he's got the sex tape out there.
He skeeted on a real belt, the belt they use on TV.
That's a little over the line.
It happened.
Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then they made a movie about the chick.
They did, actually. That's also true.
Paige. They did. They made like an actual not like a WWE movie, like a real life.
They didn't
movie.
include
The Rock was in it.
They didn't include the sex tape. I got it.
That's probably the best part.
Yeah.
It was a PG movie.
Yeah. I think it was made by The Rock.
Yeah,
I think
he was The Rock's in it.
Thing.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
See, we're back on wrestling, which is great.
That's because what the United States has turned into, wrestling, red versus blue.
Hell yeah. And you know what? I think if we handled some of the problems that we have in our day-to-day life like they do in wrestling, things would actually be resolved a lot quicker. If it was definitive, my candidate won because he put your candidate in the camel clutch and he tapped out, I have way more... I'm totally okay with that being the way we decide things.
I would watch every single debate ever if it was in a wrestling ring
we
instead
don't
of
have
on like a stage with
duels
podiums.
anymore. Let people fight things out with fisticuffs.
There's certain states where that's allowed. Like
more.
Washington.
Yeah, well, I think pretty sure Texas and like West Virginia are 2 of them.
More.
It's
Bring
like,
them all in.
Mutual combat is the thing where oh my God, call the cops! These guys are fighting out front of the bar, and the cops show up and they're like, hey, did you guys agree to fight? And they're like, yeah, and he goes, all right, well,
I'm totally down for
then.
that. You want to know why? Because I want to go. All right, Mitch McConnell. Let's go. I can challenge him right now.
The turtle?
He's got to agree to fight you back.
Yeah.
Well,
you can't just assault
here's what
people.
But here's what I'll do.
You got to take your white glove off and smack him in the face.
You choose your champion. And I will choose Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson because he's the people's champion.
Fair enough.
Champion of the people.
Well, unless he's going to go against somebody that also supports China.
Well,
then he's going to...
Brock Lesnar.
And there we go. Now all of a sudden, people are way more invested in what's happening in politics every single day.
We got to write this into Vince McMahon. Like,
That's
you need
true.
You need to work with the political parties. WrestleMania should be deciding the presidential election.
They don't have like a guy like Cody Covington, like a guy that's like red team, or a guy that's like
no, they try to stay away.
Transgender that's for Biden.
They try to stay away from
all that
from political stuff in wrestling.
Yeah, they
the closest they had was a guy from Bulgaria that was like pro Russia, but that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Not today.
No.
Well, one of the things is that Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince McMahon, the owner of the company, is part of, I think she's like a Republican representative, I want to say, of Massachusetts. I don't know that to be fact, so don't quote me. It could be Connecticut.
Because I think that's where the wrestling thing is.
Damn, look at you, undercover wrestling
Only
fan.
because Tony Hinchcliffe loves wrestling and he had a gig for them or something, right? So...
but
he's a little twink.
I know that she is involved with politics, so specifically they can't, because then that forfeits a lot of her rights as what she can do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just like they don't take bribes and stuff too.
Which is
Probably.
also
politicians
why,
or wrestlers.
Politicians.
Which is also why they never brought up the fact in Trump's time as president. They never brought up the fact that he was at a WrestleMania where he faced Vince McMahon and then shaved his head.
I think they did bring that up.
Trump is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I'm aware, but during the presidency, they never mentioned it at all.
Like, on wrestling.
Because,
on the wrestling.
Yeah, like
because,
in politics, they brought that shit up, yeah.
Because they knew that...
it would affect...
They would probably... I'm pretty, okay with saying, I think wrestling community mostly leans left, so... he would probably lose a lot of viewers if that were to happen.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think that might be the most split.
I was going to say, I feel like it's a pretty 50-50 split of...
I don't think at this point. If you're talking about, like,
see, now, what are you
the independent wrestling, then that's definitely right-leaning. Yeah. Because watching some of those shows, people are rowdy.
But I would say, like, I think like Roddy Piper.
Hell yeah.
But I think WWE is probably like pretty close to a 50-50 split. Like, you don't think wrestling is huge in fucking Pennsylvania in the middle of nowhere?
Then here's what we need.
But what I'm saying is that it's you would say like, oh, it's really left leaning, but that's just because those are the loud people online. Where everybody that loves wrestling in the middle of nowhere, Montana, is just like, yeah,
they keep that shit a secret.
We like wrestling.
Yeah, but WWE doesn't go to Pennsylvania.
But it's streamed to their houses now. It's like on cable.
Where they go is they hit the cities because that's where the highest concentration of wrestling fans in general will be.
People in general.
Yeah.
Just like everything else.
But they used to go to places that were like Pennsylvania in the middle of Appalachia.
Until they became mainstream, I guess.
And then when they became mainstream, they shifted to a new audience because they had to cater to different
I don't know. As we talk about right and left, I think most people are probably in the middle. Like,
oh, yeah. I mean...
So when we're talking about, like, the extremes, like, that's just a small portion. I think everybody else is like, yeah, we don't really care. Like,
well, I think it's like something on Twitter is like 90% of the tweets sent are from 3% of the users of Twitter.
Yeah. Which is crazy. And also that 20% of all of them are bots.
Yeah, they're just like...
or more.
AI.
Yeah. Which is hilarious because Twitter's fucking stupid.
I love Twitter.
Do you really?
I actually do.
I do want to talk to somebody that likes Twitter.
Twitter is good for news. Like, the people on Twitter that I follow are basically all sports reporters, because when they get a scoop, it gets tweeted. That's the first place you're going to see any, like, breaking news usually is Twitter.
See, I read...
So I don't follow, like... I would never follow you on Twitter. Yeah. Like, you're never going to give any relevant information.
Not at all.
I don't care about your 140 character opinion.
And I'm the same way, because I'm not either going to follow like anything news related. It's all going to be sports, and it's just going to be things that I am personally invested in. So like I follow, one of the video game companies that I really like, just so I can know when the next title is coming out or when an update is coming out.
What is it?
Well, it's Overwatch 2. It's on its way.
What's the company?
Excited. Blizzard.
Yeah, I follow Blizzard. That's what
Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, Activision.
Yeah, they're finally getting their stuff together.
Yeah, you're just a Warzone bitch, though.
Yeah, it's true. I do play that just because we have 4 guys and we all work and we can't hang out and we just make jokes on each other.
I feel that.
Warzone. It's fun. It's easy for them because you get to be brought back in. They don't just got to watch me play for 40 minutes.
Right.
Watch him play. Yeah, he's so
it's
good.
Fact. It's true.
I was telling Kev on the way here, I recently got back into Fortnite because a couple of my buddies were playing it, and I was like, I just need something else to play with people.
Mm-hmm.
So I re-downloaded it, had a blast.
Because it's probably so different than when you first played it.
It is.
Yeah.
It's entirely different, but it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's
like
for kids.
I really never thought that there would ever be a moment where me playing as an anime character from Naruto would be able to kill Doctor Strange with a shotgun after he just killed Peter Parker, who is helping his teammate who's a Ninja Turtle. It's like, what the fuck is this? I'm playing like a fever dream. Video games are
I haven't played Fortnite in
now.
forever, but when you describe it like that, like I might start playing Fortnite again.
Do you know the Chicken Wing song? Because we had that guy on.
Oh yeah? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
The thing that I just saw is now there's a new fighting game coming out like Super Smash Bros., but it's all like Scooby-Doo and Batman and Tom and Jerry, like a whole bunch of cartoons.
Oh, it was like a Cartoon Network like answer to the Nickelodeon one that just came out?
Kinda. Yeah, there's a whole lot of different people in there. Like the Looney Tunes are part of it, so you can play as like Taz or Bugs Bunny.
Nostalgia. Selling left and right.
Dude, that's all people care about anymore.
Yeah.
That's why no one besides Marvel is making new movies.
Yeah.
Everything's just a remake. And even though I'm not into any of the Marvel stuff, Endgame was my last thing.
Really? I
and
thought
was
you would
done.
be really into those.
I was. But now I was like, Endgame can be it. After like 20 movies, I'm all right to be done with this and I can move on.
Well, see, that's the funny, like, so connecting the Twitter thing and the MCU universe, Vice used to do such good reporting, and then, like, looking through Twitter, I'm like, oh, Vice. Still follow them for some reason, and the article was why they can't make good women Marvel Universe characters. Like, they're all the same, based around, like, motherhood and their fathers, and you know, that's what everything's based around, children and fathers, but specifically women, they don't have a good character. It's just, this is garbage. Yeah, you could do the same thing for the men characters. They're all led by women, family, and their mother and father.
The thing I hate is there's always, like, tragic backstory. Why can't anyone just be like, I was a guy, and then I just got this power, so, like, I have both my parents, and I didn't, like, get into an accident that caused me to have this power.
Because there's no
I think
give and take.
That's, like, the super villain origin story. There's
yeah.
no
That's true.
There's no real need to be good, so now, like, you just wake up one day and you have super speed and you're walking past a store and you're like, man, I'd love to get a soda. Shit, I don't have my wallet. Like zip zap, like now I got walking down the street with a soda, and you're like,
well, no, the speed guy was Magneto was his dad.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, and then that escalates into like, well, I really like a new TV, so like zip zap, now I got a new TV, and then you do that one time, and here comes Captain America to be like, you can't be stealing that, and it's like, oh shit, now I'm a bad guy, and I'm just gonna lean into being the bad guy.
I would be so interested in a movie where that was the premise, as a guy who just casually does slightly worse crimes each time until ultimately it's like, the world is after me.
Well, and they make him bad by, like, so he's trying to get away and he accidentally knocks down a building, which kills a ton of people.
Right.
It's like, fuck, I was only in that situation because you forced me to.
That's like the first episode of The Boys.
Yeah.
It's like the guy with super speed is, like, running away from something. And, like, he's running through the street, and, like, the main guy who doesn't have any powers, his girlfriend just, like, steps into the street as he's coming by, and, like, the guy with superpowers just explodes her because he's going, like, the speed of sound.
Right. That was one of the shows that a lot of people were like, you should watch this. That's
good.
An Amazon one, right?
Yeah. You would enjoy it.
Well, can't watch that.
What's he like you? People tell him to watch something, he won't watch it?
No, he just doesn't have Amazon.
Oh.
I'm in a pretty
code.
Committed relationship right now with this anime One Piece.
True.
It's got over 1,000 episodes, and I'm like 900 in. So like at this point, I just have to catch up. I have to finish,
Is it just
and
like
then I can
characters
get on
with
something.
giant eyes and big tits?
There
That's
is a lot of
anime,
that, yeah.
And dudes that are like very womanly.
There's some of that as well, but there's
Manliness is more of the theme of the guys.
yeah.
Like the bravado, the chivalry.
There's that. And then there are people that are like, I just want to be strong, and I don't give a fuck who I have to beat up. Man, woman, child, Luffy will slap a motherfucker. He doesn't care.
And then when they get mad, do they just get stronger?
And
And then they just and then flames around them and stuff.
It's not Dragon Ball Z. Like,
but there is still a little bit of that.
yeah, I mean, obviously you get beat, you have to find, like,
Hey,
you got to go.
there are themes across any similar type of thing, you know. All superheroes have, you know, they're orphans and they've been in some tragic accident. We already went through this.
You know who's the best superhero? Spawn.
Spawn?
That's a good superhero.
That's a great answer to
That's
that.
good.
I say Green Lantern. He's my favorite.
Which Green Lantern?
Hal Jordan. I don't like Jon Stewart. And not connecting to Jon Stewart at all. You know, the comedian.
Yeah,
But-
no, it's just the name of the second Green Lantern.
Hell yeah. He's lame.
I like the black guy that's in the cartoons.
That's Jon Stewart.
All right, I
Jon
like him.
Stewart.
Yeah, he was a better Green Lantern.
He's just like, he's just Green Lantern. Like, that's who he was for me anyway.
But it's more of like what the Green Lantern is the power of will, which I think is just a cool message in terms of like, if you believe you can do it, you can do it. And it's just done in like a superhero fashion. So I think that's cool.
Plus they have the different colors. Like if you turn a little evil, you turn in yellow or something.
Well, that's fear.
Yeah, that was the
fear.
power
Yeah.
of fear.
But they all have something like emotion like that, which is pretty neat.
It's like Captain Planet. Fire.
Dude, Captain Planet was
fucking
awesome.
Yeah, he was cool.
Plus-
and he had a good message.
And I like that too. I remember
That's the 90s, dude.
I remember seeing a
Nostalgia.
while ago that there was supposed to be a live-action Captain Planet movie.
That was with the dude from Don Cheadle was supposed to be, right? Or is that the fake
It
one?
was. I do remember seeing that whatever
Maybe
it
that was,
was
Chappelle Show's
supposed to
kid.
be Don Cheadle. But I was like, fuck yeah, bring that back.
Yeah.
Like, that's something that's a good idea that hasn't been done in a movie like this.
It's
I
like-
mean, we're adapting superheroes into live-action movies now. Why not
But
capitalize
now
on
they'd
that
be
one?
like pro-abortion. There'd be a little guy for that. Then there'd be like one for we need to save the planet by stopping carbon emissions. All of them. So they'd be like
Well-
destroying cars.
They touched on it in a Rick and Morty episode where like Morty meets like it's like a chick version of Captain Planet.
Oh.
And then he meets her and they like hit it off and they're like kind of dating and then the kids that had the power are all adults and they're like, yo, where the fuck are you? Like, you got to be doing our shit. Like, there's a press appointment, like, and you got to go destroy this factory. Like, and she was like, well, I know, I'm just hanging out with Morty. He's like, oh, get the fuck away from him. Like, you belong to us.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was a good episode. I forgot about that.
I watched, I want to say 2, maybe 3 seasons of Rick and Morty, and then I was like,
Dude, it's good.
I'm out.
It only gets better.
I'm out. It's the same thing with Always Sunny. At a point, I was like, I'm done. I know everyone else thinks it's good, but I do get to a point with shows where I'm like, we can just end it.
Not with One Piece, though,
It can
huh?
be done.
Apparently, you can watch 99 episodes of fucking anime.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and I think that's just the one thing. I love anime. I do watch more anime than I watch real television.
Is there something to be said about weird people in anime? Like, they have a huge percentage of it? Like, anytime I meet somebody that likes anime?
It depends on...
Kind of weird.
We're all weird, yeah.
It depends on it, because I know that there's also plenty of non-weird people that you would meet in a given day that would be like, oh yeah, I like, Black Clover, or I like Death Note.
See, it all depends. Like, if you're into, like, shonen anime, you can be normal. But if you're into, like, the weird weeb anime, then that's, like, those are weird people.
That's the thing, is there are tiers to it. There's some really weird stuff that is anime that if you're, like, really into that, it's like, okay...
And when I say weird, I mean like antisocial, maybe spectrum-y, like they just gravitate towards that more than other things.
I think we're following.
And I think there's definitely that stigma of a lot of weird people like anime, but then there's a bunch of celebrities like Doja Cat is a famous singer that people really know.
I can't trust any hot chick that says they're into anime because I just think like, are you just into it because a lot of nerds like it?
Oh, what about like Henry Cavill? Like he's into it. Like he's into like Dungeons and Dragons and all that shit.
Is he?
Yeah.
Vin Diesel.
I think he can do whatever.
Vin Diesel, like the latest Dungeons and Dragons book, Vin Diesel wrote the foreword to.
Vin Diesel's cool though.
Exactly.
And I do like Henry Cavill. He's the guy that does Witcher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
cool. People watch anime too.
Well,
it just depends on what anime you watch.
So that guy tiers. That in like upstate or like the Poconos of like PA, where he went to work at a grocery store and fucking like killed 4 people with a shotgun. That guy really liked anime too.
Hey, that there's a wide range of people that like a lot of things.
He was on the Sword and Scale. Did you listen to that one?
No.
Oh, it was good. I watched the video. He made 80 gigs of content of just like, he's just spectrum, maybe confused, like, but just flipped a coin that day if he was going to do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's also just to say there's fucked up people in every community.
Absolutely.
True.
Just a lot more in anime people.
I think it's watched a little bit more. I could totally point fingers at other kinds of communities and be like, look at these people. But
like what?
Like people that like guns.
Football players.
Americans?
That's a pretty...
Sounds like Americans again.
Yeah, I'll say that.
No, see, but then, like, there are people that like guns, and you say Americans. But then there's the tiers of weird gun people. Like, do you need 600 guns in your basement?
I mean, can you afford them? Because, I mean, I feel like that's where you draw the line. Like, if you're selling, your body for guns, then, all right, maybe we need to stop. But if you have the income and you're, like, a collector, and maybe you sell them also, legally, of course.
See, no, I'm not, like, just someone that's like, oh, I like having guns and collecting all of them. It's like, well, at what point are we stopping here? Like, now, like, you have all these guns, and you've got 20,000 rounds of ammo that you don't shoot. Like, why?
Well, because
that's getting kind of weird.
It's an investment. But also, like, I guess you could say the same thing, a cat person. Like, all right, one cat's cool. 2 cats, all right, he needs a friend. 3 cats, all right, you rescued 1 too many. And then as you go further, you're like, you're more detached from reality.
But that's what we're saying. That's in every community of something. There's that, like, the people,
if you like the Harry Potter movies, that's cool.
Nah.
But if you dress up as Harry Potter every single day, that's weird.
Yeah, see?
There's levels to it, as with everything.
Harry Potter pisses me off so
Just
much.
watching a couple thousand episodes of different anime all combined is... That's on the surface of...
It's just different storytelling. You're able to find a different story and everything. Things resonate with different people. I'll defend this till the day I die. I love anime.
Pat, I'm on the same side as you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if combined hours of anime watched, like
you beat me.
Oh, so much, so very much.
And I love
that.
I love that.
Cool. So
1,000 episodes though. That's definitely my longest term commitment of anything.
Yeah, I mean, how much is a season of something? We probably don't even watch that for our favorite series.
No, like you would
Kev
think.
did because it's the same series.
Yeah.
Well,
but like you think like call it Friends. How many episodes of Friends are there? 200, maybe 300 tops.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so think of the longest running The Simpsons. Like, that got old, like 2004 maybe.
Well, that the difference between that and anime, and One Piece, I would say specifically, is that The Simpsons and any other like show like that is you have writers that it's like, all right, here, like Conan O'Brien was a writer for The Simpsons for like 5 years, and then he gets his own late night show, so he's not writing. So then the jokes take a turn, and then the other writers are like, they find some other opportunity. So the staff switches out, whereas a lot of the anime are all based off of the like manga, the Japanese comic books, which is all written by one person. There is no like team that rotates through. So that's why like the level of, would you say like you fell off of Always Sunny? Because I'm sure there's like some of the writers have changed, so like just it doesn't resonate the same way with you. Whereas when you're reading the comic book or watching the anime, it's like, oh, it's the same dude, so it's the same level of he's putting his commitment into it the same amount every time.
And you're able to, at least then the characters are still like consistent, so you know, at least like in this episode it's still going to have a carryover of the last episode, whereas a lot of stuff, once they do change over writers, characters start doing things slightly differently, or they're like, well, now in this season I'm doing this. Like they change jobs, or you know, they start doing something completely differently because that's like the story of the season.
Do you ever pose with your fingers like this next to your eyes in pictures?
Like that?
Yeah.
Not like. No, I don't know. I don't.
It just always weirds me out when I see like grown adults, like the chicks do that thing, and then they got like followers, like guys that creep out on them. It's fucking weird.
We're back to that.
Yeah.
That's great. Guys on the internet, stop being creepy. Stop being
I don't
weird.
think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
Right. Good luck.
Yeah, that's kind of what guys are.
I hate that.
Ah.
Hate it. It's just weird. Like, I just don't think anyone ever wants me to be like, hey, you look so beautiful in that picture, because I don't know you. Why would I message you that?
Well, I think that's like a dynamic of like guys and girls. Like, obviously, like, so if it's a good-looking guy and he says that to a good-looking chick and they're attracted to her, then it's like that's how they would meet. Otherwise, when it's like not such an attractive guy and it's a very, very hot wanted chick, then it's like, then it's weird because they would never in a million years talk to that person. They say, "Oh, thank you," and then keep it fucking moving.
If a really good-looking chick messaged me after I posted something and was like, "Wow, you look really good in that," I would still be like,
well, it'd be a trap, but
get out of here, weirdo.
Yeah, you're trying to get money out of me.
yeah,
I don't
no,
have money.
I don't think you would say "get out of here, weird." Like,
I would.
if it was,
I would be
legit.
so off put. I would be so off put if someone random, no matter how good looking they are, messaged me and were like, "Wow, you look really good." I'd be like, "Stop stalking my page. Don't just message me out of nowhere."
Well, I think you're probably in the like really, really like 1% of like.
I think over the course of this episode, we've come to realize that all of my opinions are not what the majority of people agree with.
And I do like that because that's what I kind of like am as well. But you'd at least get a little bit in. What does this fucking hot chick want? That is weird, but damn.
But it's you ask most guys like, well, what do you think about catcalling? Like, would you like to be catcalled? And guys, I would say 90% of dudes, 95% of guys would say, yeah, I would have no problem with it.
Even if it was guys.
Because in their mind, they're like, oh, I'm walking down the street and like a construction place full of hot chicks are like, oh my God, look at you. Like, look at that ass. Can't wait to watch you walk away. But never is the scenario where it's like, yeah, but the people catcalling you are now like 60-year-old women with mustaches. Are you like still into that?
Or take it to your buddy Handsome Ray. Like, what if it's a bunch of fucking guys that might have a chance at taking you? Like, yo, what's up, man? Like, that fucking mustache. I'd really like to sit on my face. Like, cool. Did take me a while to grow this. Have a good one. I'll see you at the Flyers game. Like, guys still I don't think would really care. Like, I mean, unless they're fucking, homophobic.
Unless it's, like,
but,
aggressive.
Yeah, well, unless it's like, hey, by the way, turn that corner because me and my boys, like, we're going to run train on that mustache.
See, and that is the difference between me and a lot of people is if 99% of the general population were to say anything to me, I'd be like, don't talk to me. Like, a guaranteed 5-star review on Uber is I get in the car, they don't say a fucking word to me, and I leave. That's, like, easiest...
Even when you're drinking?
Easiest 5 stars, yes.
Oh.
No matter...
Because I'm like, hey, where are you from?
Yeah, which is like...
No, I will never ask a question. If they go, oh, like, where were you? I'll answer them. And then as soon as the talking stops, I'm not saying another thing.
Which is hilarious, because I've chosen to get into the front seat of an Uber when it's just like I'm Ubering home from a party.
Well, you're just
alone.
trying to make weird interactions.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like I'm talking.
That's kind of your style.
I'm talking like 3 a.m, get an Uber, and the guy has the passenger seat in the front pushed all the way forward, so there's more legroom in the back, and I sit in the front and then extended back so I have legroom up front with him, and this guy is sitting there looking at me like, what the fuck?
It's a power move,
Weird.
dude. And I honestly, I've done that too, where I'm like, hey, man. And I get in like I'm a friend of theirs, and then I don't say a single thing to them.
Well, I had a weird one where it was like a guy in a cab pickup truck, and it's like, well, you only have the choice to sit in the... All right, so this is cool. Still, do I have to talk to you? Because, like, now I just want to kind of be on my phone, but also, like, you might be able to see, like, pay attention to driving. It was weird.
I'm texting about you.
Yeah.
A fucking weird Uber driver picked me up in a pickup.
This one thought that I heard from this YouTube channel, but they were like, think about how weird it's going to be when, like, just self-driving cars are just the standard, and then Ubers are going to be, you're not talking to a guy, you're just calling for a car to come pick you up. But then, since it's all just one computer, it'll remember, like, guy, only gave me $2 last time, so maybe I'll just, make sure that he sends me a nice tip. Like, they're going to remember that stuff. The computers are going to be like, all right, well.
I don't know, man.
If it's a computer, I'm not tipping at all.
That's true.
I don't think the future's
Proud
coming
robot
like
racist, right?
Yeah, I mean,
we're not racist against anything on this podcast, guys.
Except robots?
Nope. This might come back to haunt us in 20 years.
I, for one, welcome our new robot overlords.
I'll say it. I will be the dissent. I hate robots. All you robots out there watching this, fuck you.
I don't think we'll have to. I think we have this weird, like, just like they thought back in the day, like the Jetsons, like, they're like, oh... I think it's
Flying
still going to be
2020.
Like, yeah, I think everything will just get more automated, but it's not going to go that. I don't think it's going to go that far because people are too dumb. I think we'll probably destroy anything before we get to that point.
No way. Skynet is already live. We're fucked.
Maybe.
That's like in Back to the Future when they go to, like, what was it, like 2018 or whatever, and they got like hoverboards.
It was 2015 because it was 30 years into the future, so it was 2015.
Oh yeah, even earlier than that.
And it's like Jaws, like 27 was in the movies.
Like, I think we're jumping.
They're
kind
of right on that one though. Where it's just another recap of something that we've seen before.
Yeah, I mean that's all we do. I mean everything out of the Bible is just done over and over and over, right?
There was something about like. There was a headline or something of the World Series from 2015 that was like ended up being true from Back to the Future 2. That was kind of spooky.
Well,
like,
baseball it doesn't matter. They all cheat anyway, aren't they? Like all cheating.
I mean, they're all. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Yeah. It's just the bad teams get caught.
Well, that's the thing they say about Nostradamus. He's this old timey person that could see the future, whatever. If you write it down. Eventually, just from the law of probability, it's just gonna happen. So then you can go, he was right. It's like he never said when it was gonna happen.
Plus,
that's why things like 2012 just don't happen on that time. I'm sure the world's gonna just blow up spontaneously one day.
Well, that's Jehovah's Witnesses.
It wasn't gonna blow up on the day, December 12th, 2020 or whatever.
No, but I did see, I was in a YouTube rabbit hole of, like, the Mayan calendar with the December 12th, 2012, and they think that it's, at least the person that I was watching the YouTube video of was thinking that it wasn't the end of the world, but it was two universes colliding is what, like, happened that day, and that's when, like,
I love that shit.
Like, all of this wackiness has spawned
That's the kind of stuff that I'm into. You want to know why? because that's anime as fuck.
I used to like that stuff too, like Naruto and like all that. But like, so you don't know anything. You start learning about all this stuff on the internet, and then as you learn, you're like, oh man, getting deeper and deeper, and then you realize like, oh, this is all fake, just like everything else. Like, it's not real. It's predicated on believing this thing, this thing, and this thing. But if you can go back and prove that this one thing was fake, it all crumbles.
Simulation.
Well, you learned that it was all fake. There are plenty of people out there like responding to QAnon that aren't learning.
But you
that
have
it's
to
fake.
be a thoughtful person. Like, that's why maybe I've gotten trapped with some thoughts. But it's like you can never let yourself get so caught up in an idea. Otherwise, you're just going to be a zealot.
And
like,
here's the thing.
Nobody wants to be a zealot, right?
Here's the thing. Like, we grew up on the internet. Our parents didn't. Old people don't know how to use the internet, which is why a lot of the stuff that